Welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Of course, the funerals for the three murdered Israeli teenagers, and by the way, one has dual citizenship, he's also an American citizen, took place today in Israel. And Israel has retaliated very strongly against Hamas, not only for the murders of the three teenagers, but also for launching rockets from the Gaza Strip into the state of Israel. But I want to put up a picture, and this picture is on truthrevolt.org, and it was linked, I believe it was linked on Drudge to this story. That's how I came upon it. And this is reportedly the ambulance carrying the bodies of the murdered teenagers. And you'll see the windshield is shattered, and the windshield has eggs or rocks thrown at it, and the windshield is shattered and splattered with paint or whatever. And reportedly, these were Arab youths throwing stones and paint at the ambulance. Do I have independent confirmation of this? No. That's why I'm pointing it out. But would it surprise me? Would it surprise me if this were true? And I believe it's true. I believe it's possible. I believe it's likely, which is why I'm putting it up. I'm attributing it to where I found it, so it's not like I'm reporting it as my own. So if it turns out to be false, you know, I've given you the background and you could judge for yourself. I'm not saying it's 100%, but I'm saying I believe it. I believe it. Because the Palestinians teach their children, first of all, routinely, to throw rocks. To throw rocks at Israelis, at settlers, to throw rocks at soldiers. And then, God forbid, a soldier shoots back or fires back, even rubber bullets in self-defense, then it's the evil Israelis, as if a rock isn't a lethal weapon. The late Ed Koch, the former mayor of New York City, decades ago, was in Israel. I believe he was at the Wailing Wall. And he got hit in the head with a rock. He was bleeding profusely. They took him away. I mean, rocks aren't a funny thing. And many believe, Alan Dershowitz believes, I think it was Alan Dershowitz, I'm going to put words in his mouth, I think it was, the Palestinians root for retaliation by the Israelis. They have their kids throw rocks at soldiers, hoping, in many instances, that the soldiers will retaliate and there'll be an injured Palestinian child for the media to take pictures of and post around the world. This is the culture. When Mickey Mouse it calls for the destruction of Israel and killing the Jews and calling the Jews pigs and monkeys on Palestinian television, what do you expect? What do you expect? All right, folks, we're going to come back with more of the Steve Malzberg Show. But first, today's America's Moment. Don't go away.
Since the beginning annals of history, the Middle East has always been a center for conflicts, intrigue, and war. So it was again on August 2nd, 1990, when Iraq's then-President Saddam Hussein ordered his armies to invade Kuwait. His objective? The oil-rich fields of Rumalia. It took 5 months of failed negotiations before the United States and its European and Arab allies abandoned their diplomatic efforts and initiated military actions against the invading Iraqi forces. On the evening of January 16, 1991, President George Herbert Walker Bush addressed the nation.
Just 2 hours ago, Allied air forces began an attack on military targets in Iraq and Kuwait. These attacks continue as I speak.
The largest Allied coalition since World War II was amassed under the command of General Norman Schwarzkopf. Known as Stormin' Norman, he led over 500,000 troops with military forces primarily from the United States, Britain, and Saudi Arabia, along with logistical and financial support from an additional 31 nations. President Bush was quick to make known the Allies' clear and limited objectives. Known to history as either the Persian Gulf War or First Gulf War, it marked the beginning of frontline reporting by embedded news reporters from around the world, providing their viewers with live pictures of ongoing battlefield actions. Anticipating the Arab nations opposing him would refuse to fight alongside their archenemy, the Israelis, Hussein launched Scud missile attacks against Israel, hoping to draw them into the conflict. But the U.S. quickly deployed to Israel the new Patriot missile interceptors, which for the first time were used successfully on the battlefield. In the end, Israel stood back. Within 100 hours of the ground forces launching their assault, the war was over. But not before Saddam Hussein had ordered the destruction of the very oil fields he sought. 1 week following the cessation of fighting, President George Herbert Walker Bush addresses Congress and the nation.
As president, I can report to the nation, aggression is defeated, the war is over.
For Newsmax TV, I'm Bill Curtis, and this is an American Moment.